For too long, society has conditioned us to believe that putting ourselves first is a sin, that taking time for ourselves, choosing our own peace over someone else's chaos, or walking away from things that no longer serve us is somehow wrong. But this mindset is poison. It creates a world where people feel obligated to live for others while silently dying inside. The truth is, self-focus is not selfish, it's necessary. You can't give your best to anyone or anything if you're constantly abandoning yourself in the process. Loving yourself enough to say, I matter too, is the first act of real courage, and it's the beginning of everything that will shift your life from surviving to thriving. We live in a world that constantly demands your attention. Friends, family, work, society, noise from every direction pulling you away from yourself. You start believing that your worth is tied to how much you give, how much you sacrifice, how available you are to everyone but you. But if you lose yourself in the process of pleasing others, what are you really left with? Emptiness, burnout, bitterness. And that's not love. That's self-destruction, wearing a polite mask. When you choose to focus on yourself, you are not turning your back on the world. You are simply turning your face toward the light, toward healing, toward truth. The people who truly care about you will understand that your growth is not a threat. It's a necessity. There is a distinct difference between being self-absorbed and being self-aware. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you stop caring for others. It means you care for yourself with the same energy and commitment. You begin to ask yourself real questions. Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I growing or just existing? You stop walking through life on autopilot and start choosing with intention. You begin to protect your time like it's the most valuable currency, because it is. You begin to say no without guilt and yes without fear. And in that space, you reclaim your power. You stop shrinking to fit in and start expanding to fill your potential. Most people are afraid to focus on themselves because doing so requires honesty. It demands that you look in the mirror and face the parts of you that are tired, broken, forgotten. It forces you to sit with discomfort, to unpack pain you've ignored, to question the beliefs that have shaped your identity. But here's the secret. Your healing is hiding in that uncomfortable space. And no one can do that work for you. No one can save you from yourself. That's why self-focus is so powerful. It's an act of bravery. It's a refusal to keep living a lie. It's the moment you stop pretending and start transforming. The people who call you selfish for focusing on yourself are often the ones who benefited the most from your lack of boundaries. They don't want you to change because your growth exposes their stagnation. But let them be uncomfortable. Let them misunderstand you, because this journey is not about being liked. It's about being free. When you start choosing yourself, the right people will rise with you and the wrong ones will fall away. And that's how you clear the path for what truly belongs in your life. That's how you make space for real love, real peace, real purpose. There's a voice inside you that's been whispering, I need you. But you've been too busy to listen. You've been too caught up in fixing everything around you while the fire inside you burned lower and lower. It's time to answer that voice, to sit with it, to breathe life into it. Because when you finally focus on you, the world doesn't end, it begins. Everything changes when you change. And it all starts with the decision to believe that you are worthy of your own attention, your own love, your own fierce commitment. That's not selfish. That's powerful. That's the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. Discipline and focus are not just traits. They are the foundation upon which every legacy is built. In a world obsessed with speed, instant gratification, and shortcuts, these two values are the slow, steady fire that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. You don't build greatness by accident. You don't wake up successful without years of unseen commitment and sacrifice. Discipline is the choice to keep going when motivation fades. Focus is the ability to lock in on what matters most, ignoring the distractions that fight for your attention every second. Together, they form an unstoppable force. They don't shout. They don't beg for applause, but the results are undeniable. The people who master them aren't always the most talented. They're simply the most consistent. Every legacy begins in the quiet, not in the spotlight, not with praise, but in the dark corners of sacrifice where no one is clapping. It's waking up early when no one is watching. It's staying late when everyone else has clocked out. It's doing the hard, boring, repetitive things that compound into greatness over time. People love to admire champions, but they rarely see the daily disciplines that created the victory. Focus allows you to block out the noise, the opinions, the critics, the distractions. Discipline gives you the strength to act with intention, even when no reward is in sight. The legacy you build is not one moment of glory. It is 1,000 moments of decision. You will be tempted to waste your time, to scroll endlessly, to procrastinate under the disguise of rest, to say yes to things that take you off track. The world will offer you comfort as a substitute for purpose. And in those moments, your discipline becomes your weapon. It's not about denying yourself joy. It's about delaying gratification so that your future is not sacrificed at the altar of your present laziness. Focus gives you direction, but discipline keeps your feet on the path. Many people know what they want. Very few are willing to endure what it takes to get there. That's the line between dreams and legacy. Legacy is not built in bursts of inspiration. It's built in the grind when inspiration is gone, when your body is tired, when your mind wants to quit, but your will says keep going. Most people don't fail because they don't have goals. They fail because they break their discipline one compromise at a time. One missed day becomes a missed week, then a lost year. The ones who build legacy are those who honor their commitments, even when emotions change. Focus is not about intensity, it's about clarity. When you know what you want and you refuse to be moved by distractions, the world begins to bend around your vision. There are no shortcuts to excellence. Every shortcut will cost you more in the end than the path of discipline would have required. The people who last are the ones who stay focused on the big picture when others chase quick wins. They build slowly, with intention, with sweat and sacrifice. And over time, their work begins to echo, not just in their own lives, but in the lives they touch, in the impact they leave behind. That's what legacy is. It's the echo of your discipline in a world full of noise. It's the residue of your focused energy long after you're gone. People won't remember how fast you lived. They'll remember how deeply you built. Your legacy won't be defined by what you started, but by what you finished. Discipline ensures you finish. Focus ensures you finish strong. Every day is a brick. You're either laying it with purpose or wasting it in distraction. The choice is yours, but the truth remains. If you want a life that outlives you, if you want to create something timeless, something worth remembering, then you must submit to the process. You must embrace discipline like a daily ritual. You must treat focus like a sacred vow, because nothing great is ever built without them, and everything weak is broken in their absence. ChatGPT said, not everyone deserves access to you. That's a truth most people learn the hard way. Your energy is your life force. It's your fuel, your compass, the very thing that either pushes you forward or holds you back. If you constantly give it away to people, places, and problems that don't value it, you will find yourself running on empty. You'll be exhausted without doing anything meaningful. Protecting your energy is not about being distant or arrogant. It's about being wise. It's about knowing that peace is not just a feeling, it's a discipline, a deliberate choice to guard what's sacred inside you. Because once you lose your peace, everything else begins to unravel. You can't keep surrounding yourself with chaos and expect clarity. You can't live in toxic environments and wonder why you feel anxious or drained. Every conversation, every environment, every relationship either feeds you or bleeds you. And it's your responsibility to know the difference. It's not selfish to walk away from energy that no longer aligns with your growth. It's not rude to say no to people who continuously bring stress, drama, or negativity into your space. You are not obligated to carry the emotional weight of others, especially when they refuse to carry their own. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors that decide what gets access to your peace and what gets locked out. Protecting your peace also means learning how to stop fighting every battle. Not every insult needs a reply. Not every opinion needs a response. The moment you let people dictate your emotions, you hand over the keys to your inner calm. Energy vampires love reactions. They thrive off your chaos. Don't give it to them. Sometimes the most powerful move is silence. Sometimes the strongest act is walking away. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Your peace is more important than your pride, and protecting it means mastering your emotions, controlling your impulses, and staying grounded when everything around you is trying to shake you. There will be seasons in your life where solitude becomes necessary, when growth demands that you disconnect, pull back, and recalibrate. That's not loneliness, that's restoration. That's healing. Sometimes you have to turn the world down so you can hear yourself again, to regain focus, to rebuild from the inside out. Protecting your energy in these seasons means saying no without guilt. It means not attending every event, not answering every call, not being available to everyone at all times. You are not a machine. You're a soul, and your soul needs quiet space and intentional care to remain powerful. Of the greatest acts of self-respect is walking away from people who make you feel small, unseen, or unworthy. Protecting your energy requires the courage to let go of relationships that drain you, even if you once loved them, even if they once meant everything. You are not betraying anyone by choosing yourself. You're simply choosing to no longer betray your own peace. The right people will understand. The wrong ones will resist. But either way, your peace must come first, because you can't rise while being chained to what breaks you. You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. Let go to grow. Everything in your life begins with energy. How you show up, how you love, how you dream, how you endure. And if you allow your energy to be constantly hijacked by negativity, you will never have the power to create anything meaningful. Protecting your energy is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. You have to wake up every day and choose peace over pressure, alignment over approval, purpose over noise. That's how you stay strong in a world that wants to keep you distracted. That's how you build a life of clarity, strength, and grounded power, by fiercely, unapologetically protecting what fuels you most. Transformation doesn't happen when you're surrounded by noise, applause, or constant company. It begins in isolation, in those raw, quiet moments, when you finally confront who you really are beneath all the layers the world put on you. Isolation strips away the distractions, the performance, the pressure to be anything but honest. It forces you to look in the mirror and face the unfiltered truth of your life, your habits, your wounds, your regrets, your hopes. And while that honesty can feel brutal, it is also the birthplace of growth, because nothing changes until you do. And real change, the kind that lasts, requires space, silence, and solitude. In a society addicted to distraction, sitting alone with your thoughts feels like punishment. But in reality, it's one of the most powerful decisions you can make. You begin to hear your own voice again after years of drowning in everyone else's expectations. You begin to realize how much time you've wasted trying to please others, trying to fit in, trying to keep up. And in that stillness, something shifts. You remember what you were created for. You reconnect with your values, your mission, your deepest desires. The noise fades and clarity rises. That clarity becomes the foundation upon which transformation is built. Isolation teaches discipline because it removes all the crutches. When there's no one to impress, no one to lean on, no one to distract you, you have no choice but to depend on yourself. You have to build your own habits, create your own structure, master your own thoughts. This is where the real work begins. It's easy to stay busy when the world keeps you spinning in circles. But when you step away and commit to inner work, you begin to realize how undisciplined your life has become. Isolation doesn't just teach you to be alone. It teaches you to be better when you are. Transformation is painful because it often means leaving behind parts of your old life, old habits, old identities, old relationships. Isolation forces those decisions to the surface. It creates a space where you can no longer hide behind busyness or blame. You're alone with the truth, and you have to decide whether you're going to evolve or stay stuck. The people you thought you needed begin to fade. The things you thought mattered lose their grip. And though it feels like loss, it's actually liberation. It's the shedding of everything false so the real you can finally emerge. There's a reason every powerful person has gone through a season of isolation. It's not because they wanted to disappear. It's because they had to. They had to pull back to pull themselves together. They had to disconnect from the world to reconnect with their power. The cocoon is not a prison. It's a place of preparation. And just like the caterpillar, you don't transform on the outside until the shift happens on the inside. You don't rise until you break. You don't lead until you've been alone. Isolation is not weakness. It's the forge that sharpens your soul. When you return from isolation, you're not the same. You walk different. You speak with more clarity. You move with more intention. And the people who meet you after your transformation will never understand what it took to become this version of you. But you know. You'll remember the nights you cried, the mornings you fought, the days you nearly gave up, and it will all make sense because every ounce of pain, every lonely hour, every silent battle was shaping something stronger, deeper, and more powerful inside you. This is where greatness is born, in the silence, in the solitude, in the sacred space of isolation.